interesting sound. So what do you think? Is there going to be any new offering from the gamekeepers? I say there will be. There'll be a new pile. It will be something else entirely than before. That's my prediction. I mean, the ravens are still there, so it could very well be. I hope Drake is not eating it. Run a little bit. And of course he is. Seiko! Fuj to. Yeah, I said there'll be something new, and sure enough, it is. There are actually, I mean, check yourself. There are, you know what? Oranges. Yeah, oranges. Yeah, no comment on that really. I mean, oranges. Yeah. And I can't believe I was stupid enough. I mean, I was 18 and I didn't know any better at the time. But that I really thought I could study gamekeeping. I mean, Jesus Christ almighty. I would be... Hell, I mean, you could argue I would be a great gamekeeper because I would actually really do it for nature and love animals and all that. But it's like, seriously, can you imagine me as a gamekeeper? I mean, there's absolutely no way I could do it. No way. And the people I would have to deal with, Jesus Christ. I mean, I think I would start gamekeeping people really, rather than actual game. Seriously. No, absolutely no way I could be a gamekeeper, and it was a really silly decision back then. Really, the decision behind it was because I thought it's going to be the easiest route to go. I hated the idea of going to college because I hated studying. And I still do, by the way. I don't like school. I don't like schools. I don't like the whole system of schooling and the credits and marks and tests and all that crap. Which is very contradictory because I love gaining new knowledge. And I love teaching myself things and learning about things, learning about new skills and all that, you know. I love it. But I hate it when it's in school and when I have to, you know, and when someone forces me to do something and I have to follow authorities and all that. That's when I sort of, that's when I sort of when my sort of stubbornness kicks in, and I hate it. I freaking hate it. And I was really bad at school, like really bad at school. The only thing that I was good at was biology, obviously, because that's like probably the only subject that I ever liked was biology, because it was about nature, and you know, I just enjoyed it, so I had the best marks probably of all class. And the rest, I was just like, you know, maybe English was like okay, you know, because I enjoyed that too. But the rest was absolutely a disaster. And I actually had, on high school, I actually had, I don't know if it's a couple times or just once, I had I was given, is it an F? I don't know. We didn't have letters. We have numbers. I don't know how it's in your country, but we have numbers from 1 to 5, 5 being the worst. And if you get 5 at the end of the year, you're pretty much screwed. You have to repeat that, as far as I remember. And I actually got 5 in the first half of the year, but fortunately got 4 in the other half, so I didn't, had to repeat the whole fucking year. But I was close to it several times, and yeah, I did had 5 marks too, which is the worst of the worst, because I just hated this. So I think the subject was chemistry, and the teacher was very stern, and I was just like hating it all through, and I didn't like her either. So, and she didn't like me particularly, so I had 5, yeah. And I couldn't wait to get the fuck out of high school. I cannot imagine how, like, I couldn't wait to get out of there, because I hated studying, and I knew back then I don't want to go to high school. I wanted to go to a specific school that will train me in specific skill, but I didn't know what kind of skills should I do. I didn't know anything, because that's another story altogether, because I was raised and guided in a completely different manner than I should have been, and I didn't know anything really other than driving bicycles, riding bicycles and running like a maniac, So when it was time to decide, like, if you're all you're doing is doing sports your whole life because your dad wants you to, and then you have to decide what you're supposed to do, like, how are you supposed to know? Like, were you supposed to have some sort of revelation while you were riding bicycle all day long? I mean, so I didn't know, and I didn't have any argument. And my sister, who was a perfect student, surprise, surprise, she went to high school. So what do? I do go to high school too, because that's what you should do. Copy your siblings that are completely different from yourself, like completely different from the ground up. So I followed in her footsteps. I suffered through the high school, and then when it was time to decide what to do, like, next, what do you do if you go to a gymnasium high school? There's nothing else to do but to go to a college, obviously, because it's such a general knowledge school. They don't prepare you for anything specific, so you have to go to another, sort of higher high school, which is college. And I didn't know anything. Like, I didn't know what to pick. I didn't have anything. I was glad I was sort of alive at that point, and just like getting through my day and not breaking down or something. So I didn't know anything. So what did I do? I picked gamekeeping school because I had 3 different schools I could pick from. One funnier than the other, by the way. Where I got in there, I did the test, and they would accept me, but I chose the gamekeeping because I was like, there's gotta be the easiest school ever, right? Gamekeeping. What are you gonna do there? Like, count road years and there's a biology and there's nature to a certain degree. So it's like, maybe it's gonna be less painful out of those 3. Well, what do you know? There was even higher level of chemistry and math and physics than it was on a high school. So when I saw it, I went to the first class of chemistry. I was like, okay, I'm done, and I left the school, like, I was pretending like I'm going there for a month, and then I just gave up, and I stopped going in there, because there was no freaking way I'm gonna repeat what I was doing on high school, barely going through, suffering through the entirety of it. No way I'm gonna repeat this for 4 years now. So I just left, and I've been working ever since. For my pretty much 19 years, I've been working various odd different jobs, and that's that. I didn't kind of want to talk about it, by the way. I just wanted to give you a little bit of background why I even chose to go to a gamekeeping school when I clearly dislike gamekeepers, and I couldn't imagine myself like shooting some animals. I mean, that's absolutely bizarre. I would totally not. By the way, that's the black cap still there. Very chattery this morning. Hey man, how's it going? All good with the nesting season? Hope so. All right, see you around. Well, yeah, so I just wanted to give you a bit of a background why I would even choose that, you know? Because I wasn't that different when I was 18, you know? So it's still bizarre. Actually, I didn't change it much at all. I'm still kind of the same person I was since I was a kid. Where's Drake? So yeah, so it's still bizarre. It was bizarre back then, and it's bizarre now still. Actually, now it's even more bizarre, you know, when I think about it, that I ever wanted to go to a gamekeeping school, seriously. But really, the decision was because I thought it will be the lesser evil, and I frankly didn't even expect I would ever do gamekeeping. It was more like, let's do this school, let's just finish that thing, you know, get it over with. I don't know what I was thinking, really, because I thought like all that thing is like imposed upon me, you know, forced upon me. I just wanted to have it fucking over with. And I wasn't even thinking about my future, you know, because I was so fucking sick and tired of all those schools and of all those following this and that and doing this and that. And hell, I was over 18, right? I was like adult. I could have made my own calls and decisions, and I did. I made a call to fucking quit school and start working, you know, and that was my free decision. And yeah, you know, do I regret it? I mean, I kind of do, to be honest, but you know, I am who I am, and I wouldn't be who I am today if I wouldn't make that decision. And you know how those things go. Everything is supposed to be the way it's supposed to be, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, but frankly, I often think like, what if I would go there back then? What if I would do this back then? Although, quite honestly, I think that's, especially nowadays, it's kind of irrelevant anyway, because whatever I would choose and pick, which is probably would be something artistic, it wouldn't make any sense now anyway, you know, because well, I don't know if I should bring this up here. This should be about nature and, you know, walks, although I'm already talking about gamekeeping school. But I was gonna say, when AGI comes out, I think none of it would make sense anyway, and it will not make sense anyway. So, you know, it's just like, I think a couple of those years that I struggled through and finding various different jobs, I could have been better off a bit, you know, and perhaps I would be better off now. Who the fuck knows? But yeah. But I was telling you about the other schools, and I said that all the three were kind of funny. And so let me tell you a joke that is not a joke, because it's a reality, and I actually thought about going in there. So the second school I picked was, well, essentially it was a religious school, you know, and I'm not kidding. And that seems even more bizarre than the gamekeepers one. It was a religious school. Not that I would study religion, but of course there would be some subjects on that too. But it was social work, social worker kind of a school, you know. But it was on a religious sort of college, you know, led by religious people, let's say. So that is absolutely bizarre as well that I picked that. And that's second one. And the third, because, like, I mean, you know, I probably remember my stance towards religion, but yeah, it's not very far from my stance on the gamekeepers, to be honest. yeah, well, actually, I probably even think that gamekeepers are lesser evil than the religion, but let me not get into that. And then the third one was like a very general sort of it's called Humanities Studia in Czech. It's like it's like humanity sort of stuff. It's like very general, very, very, very like the most general knowledge college you can pick. Like, so there would be hundreds of different subjects from all kinds of different fields, and you would just pick the ones that you like. So I think people that really don't know what they want to do kind of pick that college, and then just pick whatever they like in there, because there's like so much of it. Then you can just choose. It's like a library of different subjects. So that was the third one. That's not so bad, by the way, but to me it just seemed like another freaking gymnasium and another freaking high school, you know. So, and I didn't want that, so I picked gamekeeping in college, and I left after a month. And that's, in short, my educational story. Story of my education, yeah. So, yeah, I'm a pretty uneducated bastard when it comes to it. But at least I have a pretty decent English. It's not. I don't know if it's something to brag about, really. I mean, it's not such a feat, at least these days. But, you know, I kind of like the fact that I have a pretty decent English. And I know my birds, you know, so, yeah. But, yeah, I am pretty uneducated when it comes to it. But none of it matters, really, because I am what I am. I am who I am. And I wouldn't be who I am if none of these things would happen in the past. And as I mentioned, a little sneak peek. I'm probably not going to talk about it, by the way, because I don't think it's a subject that I want to cover in these videos. It's not supposed to be about that, really. But I think none of it's going to make sense anyway once AGI, like true AGI, comes out. Then who the hell knows what kind of jobs we'll be doing, if we'll be doing any jobs at all. At least the IT part and the creative, artistic part of the professional fields, you know, of the professional world. So none of it makes sense anymore. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. No videos over the weekend as usual. And I'm gonna sign off now. And by the way, that up there is I always forget his name. Not Hatch. Yeah, sounds like the bird that sounds like a Morse code. Now it doesn't sound like a Morse code, but yeah. Oh, do they have a little? Hold on. Do they have a? Oh, look at that. They have a. Let's see that. Up there, he's up there by the opening on that tree. And you know what they're doing right now? I think they're lining the entrance with the mud, as I said. See? It's doing some kind of work on the entrance. So I think they're lining it with mud. And that's what I said they do. If you find a cavity that is lined with mud, that is a nuthatch's cavity. That's where they nest. And they're doing that right now, live in front of us. Cool. So they're going to nest there probably, unless someone takes that nesting cavity. Sometimes great spotted woodpecker comes along and they just take it for themselves, and they chase them out. But yeah, they took that nesting cavity and they're lining it with mud currently. That's pretty cool. All right, so I'm gonna sign off with that.